with Drew if we really want to miss the obvious little
Do you want to
little.
call it Drew Dre's talk?
No, I do not. I someone tried to call me Dre for a while, but I have a legendary lack of swagger, so it didn't really play up. Duddle seems to be a little more in keeping with my personality.
Actually, I would go with Duddle. Duddle's good. I
Duddles, not Duddle. It's got to be Duddles.
Duddle's the clown. I was called Swirly as a youngster
Yeah,
because
I can see
because
that.
of Sorley, you know. So hey, that's not too bad. Well, Drew, today is Sunday, May 12th. I believe you have a recap for us, sir.
I do. We talked last Sunday before Manoa's first start of the season, and it did not go particularly well. So the Jays had a short week this week, which is good for the team, good for the bullpen, and lousy for those of us who are looking for things to do on Tuesdays or Mondays and Thursday nights. So the Jays have only played five since we last talked a week ago. They've gone 2-3. A big 11-8 loss to the Nationals in Manoa's first start, although he didn't look as bad as a 11-8 score indicates. We had the off day, a big loss to the Phillies. Barrios with his first rough start of the year, a 10-1 loss. Come back behind a strong performance by Bassett on Wednesday to take the Phillies 5-3. And we are 2 games into the series with the Twins, a 3-2 loss they easily could have taken on Friday night. And then yesterday, when we were texting back and forth, I believe it was 7-1 or 8-1. I commented that we can talk today about today's epic comeback,
You did.
and I say that every time the Jays are down 9 runs, knowing that every now and then yesterday will happen, and I will look like Nostradamus, and pull it off. So,
As long as you
but
don't
yeah,
look like a nostril.
2-3 for the week, 18-21 on the year. That is last place in the AL East, but I don't care about standings until August. And 5 games back of the wild card, but a few people to hop over. But one good stretch changes everything, and every team's got one good stretch in them. So that's where we stand now, my friends, on a eventful week of Drew Jays, eventful week of Blue Jays baseball to talk about on Drew Jays Talk. What's stuck out for you, brother?
Well, speaking of one epic stretch, I had a couple flights this week, and so I've been doing a lot of stretching. Drew, what stuck out for me this week is that, well, you led with the sort of the biggest deal, which was yesterday's game. That was that was some of the romance of baseball, wasn't it? We did. It was 7-1. We were down 7-1. I remember. So we were down. I think we were down 3-0, and then Bichette hit a home run, so it was a 3-1 or maybe even 4-1. I don't remember the exact pacing of the runs yesterday, but um, Bo hit that home run, and I was thinking, boom, yeah, he needed that. Bo definitely needed. We see him in the dugout, and it looks like he's frustrated. And to see him get a homer, now he's got to go get, I don't know, 25 more would be nice. But yesterday's game was the fun part of baseball. I had a lot of people texting me, both saying, "Oh, this is going great, typical Jays," and then I had a lot of people texting me around the eighth inning saying, "Whoa, this is great baseball." Um, Enjoyable though to see your guys come from behind and come out on top.
Did you almost turn it off?
Be honest with you, okay. So yesterday was Paul Skeen's debut, Major League Baseball debut, and that guy is going to be something. So I had 2 screens going. I had Jays on TV, didn't turn it off, but I had Paul Skeens, and it was roughly the Jays started at just after 3 yesterday. Paul's start was just after 4 with the Pirates in Pittsburgh, which we've talked about this before, but that park is just so pretty, Drew. Um,
Yeah.
what a beautiful ballpark. Anyway, so I had my phone playing the Pittsburgh game, and I had the Sportsnet game on TV. How about you?
I really thought about it, man. It just with the offense the way it has been, it you just don't see a comeback of 5, 6, 7 runs, right? And I think it ended up 7-1 before the Jays started rolling back, and so I just didn't think the offense was there. But I got to be honest with you, when I went to turn it off and go back to binging Parks and Rec, there was just something that was like, you got to do Drew Jays talk, and you can't miss, like you can't say that you turned off a game. And so I stuck with it, man. And then
Yeah.
what I found really interesting about the game and what I found exciting about the game is that the Jays didn't come back just hitting bombs. The Jays were hitting, smacking balls all over the field. They could have scored more probably. The Jays are loading the bases and getting guys on. And, I think the big thing for me was that you just sort of started believing. And I thought, well, this is the team that we want to see, right? Where, I hate evoking the bat like the 215 216 team because like let's stop living in the past, but especially the end of that 2015 season, I didn't care if the Jays were down 8-0. I was like, they can score that many runs. And yesterday I didn't believe it, and then I saw it, and now the problem is we know it can happen.
Yeah.
And so now it's even more disappointing when it doesn't. But let's take a look, man. They scored 10 runs. They played 5 games. They scored 10 runs. They scored 8 runs in the first game. Yeah, then it was one, then it was five, another two. But then, they scored 10 runs again. So, a couple of higher up in the single digits, double digit games, right? So
Mhm.
that's pretty amazing. And it was nice to see with a lot of base hits, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of station to station, first to third. Saw some good base running. Um, you know, Early on, Davis Schneider made a bit of an error. And he's a new fielder. We know this. Um, let a ball sort of get away from him. I don't know that. Well, Varsho doesn't let that ball get past him,
No.
but I don't think it was a terrible play. But man, you could see the frustration on Davis Schneider, and I think that almost gave him like an extra chip on his shoulder because he then came back and I think it was. Am I right that he was a triple shy of the cycle at the end of the game? 3 runs scored.
Yeah, I mean,
Davis wanted to make up for that error.
I think so too. And I mean, it's great to see that he is morphed into an everyday player because, one, with the ultra tight uniform, the man is obviously cut. Like, I just really didn't realize how tight that guy's uni was. He's got the Spencer Strider or the Robbie Ray, like, wetsuit for the whole body going on. And,
Hey, we got to keep this show rated G here, Joe. I know it's Mother's Day.
oh, I know, but I'm just like, that's a big dude, and it's nice to see him get himself into everyday play because I do think that the new guys for the Jays have an opportunity to play a pretty big role, and if you get a couple of guys hitting 260 with an OPS 750 800, well, you've really like who signed free agents doing that? I mean, the Dodgers. But who signed free agents? Two or three of them that might be bringing that. The Jays have that little group of people that might be doing that, and so it's nice to see him in there because it does reinforce the idea that you can earn your way in. And every single year, the Jays have some player who's going to be a rotation player. Espinal a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago. Even you go back many years and you see Kevin Pillar, who was supposed to be a part-time left fielder, and played his way into the center field role. So you're going to get that every year, and you're going to get somebody who has a down year. Unfortunately, the
Yeah.
Jays thus far, it's been a couple.
Well, and we've had good at bats, really top to bottom. Yesterday, I know one of your favorites, Danny Jansen, was impressive. We saw Vladdy. We saw the Vladdy that we've been craving. 4 for 5, I believe he finished the day, and just real good baseball. You know
He
when
was he was 3 for 5 too in. He was 3 for 5 earlier in the week too. He's hitting what 405 or something for the
Yeah,
last 12 games. So
he's heating
that's
up.
not a small sample size. Yeah.
Him heating up plus Bo hitting the homer. I think these are good signs, Drew. Um, I was
He
just
had a
gonna
big hit too
say,
earlier in the week too. Bo had a big hit earlier in the week when they needed 1-2 to drive in a run. So, I mean, you're not seeing the same as Vladdy, but you see how fast it can happen, right? Because
yeah,
people are still, oh, Vladdy's having a down year. I'm like, Vladdy's tearing it up right now. But that's how baseball works, right? You do a
yeah,
big enough trough. But Vladdy's hitting 260 now.
yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Well, and you and I have dedicated our airtime here to keeping things positive, and I think both of our jobs is just to remind people that baseball's a long season, and when Bo is in the conversation for league leaders at the end of the season, just remember that a lot of you wanted to send him down to Buffalo or trade him. This is a guy who's a special player. I wanted to change to the pitching man for a moment, and Gossman. Gossman reminds me of Halliday in a lot of ways. They're not the same physical build. They're not the same pitcher. But don't you remember that when the team was scuffling and it was Roy's turn. Okay, we'll once every 5 days the stopper should. Roy was the type of guy that you could actually almost count on for at least a seven, probably an 8 inning run. Gossman to me is that guy in our rotation. Seeing him struggle, not gonna lie, I was like, oh geez, this is worrisome. But the team picked him up.
Hey, like if the team's going to pick up the offense a little bit, it's the time to do it because it
Yeah,
looks like it was a bit of a rough roll through the rotation. And again, what I do like is it doesn't seem like people are panicking because we're starting to look at these pitchers as what they are overall and recognize that even the best ones have a rough one. Barrios had a rough outing, although Barrios' stuff looked good.
yeah,
He really did. And so even Gosman struck out a whole bunch of guys, but they were just getting every now and then, right? So the Jays got burned this week by some big home runs, right? Bryce Harper's that game wasn't totally out of sort of reach, and then Harper just destroyed it, and then they gave up a 3-run shot as well in the game that they blew their lead on. And 3-run shots and grand slams beat you; they just do.
right.
And what I try to remember though is look at the rest of the pitcher. So Bassett had a solid outing. Kikuchi had even though he took the loss, right? Kikuchi had a great outing. So you saw a rough one from Manoa, Barrios, and from Gosman. But when the starting rotation's got enough depth, it's okay when two or three guys have a rough one. Where we're in trouble a little bit now, but I see indications it'll get better is in the bullpen, right? So I don't know about you, but it's hard to super feel upbeat when they're in there. But at the same time, like we have to remember that there's two guys in there whose pitches in Trevor Richards and Eric Swanson had
Yeah,
among the highest whiff rates between their changeup and their split finger, respectively, in the major leagues last year.
yeah.
Like I don't care what his ERA is. Trevor Richards is a great relief pitcher, and so I look at the gap between performance and talent in the bullpen and say, okay, you know what? Everything's going to sort of ease itself out. And what we've seen from the Jays this year is that at least one, we haven't seen two things go wrong at once. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Bullpen, batting. I guess the bullpen and the batting a little bit, but you're still only 4 games below 500.
Listen, it is still early. I mean, we're a little over a quarter. I think we're right around the quarter mark right now. And there's going to be a lot of jockeying for position in the American League. You're seeing the Twins benefit from playing, frankly, some weaker teams. They've had a couple series against the White Sox, and the White Sox are, well, they're not a professional baseball team, Drew. The Today, can we talk about today for a minute? It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day
Yeah. Happy
to
Mother's Day to
to
you and
all the
yours.
to all the mothers out there. Um, I saw a picture. The Jays has done a special message to mums in the infield dirt, so that'll be interesting to see on the broadcast. But we got Alec Manoah today. Drew, I have faith. I have faith in Alec. How are you feeling about Alec today? 137 start.
You know what? At 1:37 Eastern, I'm coming to you from Halifax, my friend. So
Oh,
let's respect the rest of this country who might be tuning into True Jays Talk. We are a country or a coast to coast phenomena. I'm pretty sure that like most of our 6 viewers are spread all the way across. And so, you know what? I think Manoa missed his spots at times last game. I think that was what I said going in. Is if he spots it, he's going to be okay. But if he throws mediocre sliders. I mean, this isn't baseball analysis advanced, right?
yeah,
But what is, I looked at just the strikeouts, and almost all of his strikeouts, he painted the outside far corner on a right-handed batter. It wasn't the slider down and away that was getting the swing and miss. He was really painting with the two seamer, the outside corner, when you got the strikeouts, and so you know it's in there, and you know he knows where it's got to go. But hey, it was his first at bat back in the majors. He's an emotional guy. Sorry, not his first at bat, his first pitching back in the majors. I think today will tell us more than the first day. I
yeah.
really do. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. Can he spot that two seamer down and away to right-handed hitters? And then if that thing's getting spotted, the slider's going to get swung at because it's out of the same spot and it's going to be in the same tunnel, right? So that's what I think it is. If he can paint that two seamer down and away to right-handers, he's going to get swings and misses at the slider. But if he comes back with the slider and leaves it middle of the plate, sometimes he leaves it up, and he had a few that he got away with. But if you leave it down middle of the plate, that's where I've seen him get stung a lot.
I was in love with the slider. He was missing the plate in good ways. The slider looked alive. The fastball was missing the zone a little bit, but yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think there was some nervousness, some jitters last week and today. Um, you know, you've never heard me say a bad thing about Alec, and this is not going to be a bad thing about Alec, but this is me saying, okay, but um, this at some point here you gotta turn it back on. You gotta find the spot where you've been before. That's not me being negative. That's me being I think just honest about the situation, right?
And he's got to look at it too, man. We don't really have a whole lot of options right now.
Yeah,
So, there's no pressure there. Step it up, buddy. And
yeah,
because there's nobody waiting in the wings,
yeah,
which maybe is less pressure, but I look at it that way, which is hard to think, man. Just a few weeks ago, the Jays starting pitching was, I mean, I wouldn't say the depth made me excited. I wasn't excited when Mitch White took the hill. But, Mitch White was our third guy in line as our fifth starter, and I was okay with that. And now all of a sudden, Francis out and Rodriguez out and Mitch gone. You know,
yeah.
Alec is our guy. But if he turns out to be our guy, then that's great. I mean,
Well,
that's a hell of a
here's
rotation.
here's what we need for the six people watching. This is Alex's first home start since July of 2023. We need that crowd at Rogers Day, that Mother's Day crowd, to back him. We need to pick this guy up and support our team. Let's talk, Drew. Let's talk about what surprised you this week. What was I've got one.
Oh, go fire away, man. What surprised you?
Well, surprise is maybe not the word, but IKF. Um, this
I
guy
got that
seems to
down.
be. You got IKF written down. IKF
Yeah.
seems to be this all star hiding in plain sight. Uh, you keep hearing guys like Buck and Dan say that this guy knows how to be a ball player. Um, I agree, and also how do how do we have this guy? Like this seems like in our usually in the seventh and the eighth spot in the lineup. This is a professional baseball player that I'm really enjoying watching.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. This is my Whit Merrifield for this year, but I always was a little wary of Whit. I don't know why. I just got weird vibes off Whit Merrifield, and what a strange thing to say. And I got nothing to back it up, but I loved him because he was a J, and that's why I loved him.
Sure.
Uh, Good baseball player. But I think that's what IKF is showing me this year is that it's a guy who, when he gets regular playing time, is a very talented baseball player. I think the challenge that he's got is that he is one notch below a star. Or two notches below a star, and so you're always looking to replace a solid baseball player with a star. And I think he's played places that do that. You
Right.
play in New York City, that happens. You play in the big money places, and that's going to happen. I love IKF, and I think a couple of things is not only did he have big hits this week, but he was the guy who was hitting fly balls with less than two out with guys on third base. And I will say this about the Jays, even as they struggled hitting, it's not like a few years ago where I assumed they were going to strike out painlessly. Like the Jays are putting guys on, the Jays aren't hitting with runners in scoring position, but they got a bunch of really good professional hitters that give you really good at bats. And IKF is one of those. Justin Turner's another one of those. It's these new guys that we've added that really give good at bats. Like, Ernie Clement, who's one of the new guys, swings at, you know, that guy swings at everything. But if you're going to hit it hard, I really don't give a crap.
The whole team, top to bottom, are contributing in ways here and there. Clement, speaking of, and you said Friday's game was winnable. I agree with you. I mean, Clement actually had really like he made the last out of the ninth inning. Friday night, I think we had two guys on, and he deflected. I believe he hit the ball against the
He hit
pitcher.
it hard. He hit it to the pitcher.
Yeah. If that goes 1 inch or something to the left or right, seeing eye single up the middle, we're talking about a sweep today. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of today, so it is Mother's Day. We're going to keep today's episode short, Drew. But what's your prediction for today's game? What's your prediction for the week ahead? I'm going to pull up the schedule here and tell you what we're looking at. Um, First of all, what do you think is going to happen today?
You know what, man? I'm completely in the dark here. I just this is me going with a gut feeling is that I think Manoa will have a better outing today, but I think he's going to have one of his Manoa battle outings where he doesn't have the great stuff. And the thing about Manoa is he's one of the best battle pitchers I've ever seen, which the challenge is he went from not having his best stuff last year to having nothing in
Yeah.
some of his games. And so I think we're going to see another Manoa not have his best stuff game, but manage to battle. I think we're going to get Steve 5 innings out of him today. I don't know. I do just have a feeling today isn't the Jays' day. And I don't think this week is going to be the best week for the Jays. I think they're going to take 1 out of 3 from Baltimore. I just have a weird feeling they're going to win today, though. I don't know why. I know I just said the opposite, but I don't have any really good reason for it. I feel like a win today. I feel like they're going to struggle a little bit against the Orioles and take 1 out of 3. Uh, but I do think we're going to see 2 out of 3 from the Rays next weekend. I do. I think that I think what we saw yesterday was a lot of good at bats, and I think they could have won the night before. And so I think we're going to start to see that come out of the offensive doldrums a little bit. And we'll just see whether the pitching comes back to earth or stays excellent in the meantime.
Okay, you ready for my prediction?
I'm ready. Are you going to sweep the whole week?
Alex Manoa is going to go 7 today. He's going to get 10
Okay.
strikeouts. Tim Mesa in the 8th. Romano shuts it down in the 9th. It's going to be a beautiful win. And you know why? It's Mother's Day. Alec loves his mom. We saw her on his professional debut, and I love stories, and I think that's what you're going to see today. You know what's going to happen? We got some momentum. We're going into Oriole. We're taking the bird bath with us. We are sweeping the Orioles through. It's going to be. We're going to embarrass the Orioles. You know why? Because they've embarrassed us, and it's time
Mm.
to take their licks. It's time for them to to coddle in their orange and black feathered corner.
You
And
know what, man? I
and
like
then
that.
and then here
In
we
your
go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm not done yet, Drew. You know what? Sweeping the race. We're going to win 8 games in a row right into Chicago. It's going to be glorious. Let's do it.
You know what, man? I have no reason to crap on that philosophy. I mean, it's the whole point of the show. Why not believe in it? It's weird, because some weeks she'll come in and you'll just be like, "We're going to go 1-3 against San Diego," and then I'm just like, "Oh, that's not like him at all." And now you're just like, "We're going to play some of the best teams in baseball," and just I'll tell you, the guys last night were hoping that this marks one of those days you can look back in a few weeks and say, "That's where it all started." That
Yeah.
comeback there.
Yeah.
Baseball, I don't really know how I believe about momentum in baseball, but it's hard to deny when you start stringing stuff together. But if they're ever going to come out on a high, it's going to be today. And I'll tell you, if Manoa puts in a good turn today, this is going to be, and the Jays pull the A's out. This is going to be a team for one that's had not a great last 2 weeks. This is going to be a team with momentum going into the Baltimore series, and I think I'm looking forward to watching Baltimore. That's a good baseball team, right? And a
It is.
young team.
It is. And listen, they're exciting, but I think our team is exciting too. So,
I
um,
think I think Jano's going to keep crushing the ball. We
yep.
didn't even talk about him this week, but God bless you, Danny Jansen. It is good to have you back. It's going to be good to have you back until you take the inevitable foul tip off of your thumb. Um, like I don't know why he doesn't just like wear mittens, like out there, just like winter mitts, and just like do his best to clap the baseball.
We
Like
need
man, when I
to
went to the plate 5 minutes, I wear boxing gloves if I was him. Like
we need to invent like force field like shields. Yeah, no, I listen. What's the point of being a fan of baseball if you don't get a little bit excited like a kid? Like it's like bringing your glove to the ballpark, even though you're not going to catch a foul ball.
you're in the
You
fifth,
know,
you're in the fifth deck. Yeah.
live a little is all I'm thinking today. And I've been hard on our guys. I've been as hard as you'll see me on them, but I think I think uh, I think we need a win as fans. I think the team needs a win just for their own sake. I mean, John Schneider needs some wins. Um, so why not? It's absolutely.
It'd be cool if they were above 500 when we came back on Drew Jay's talk.
Shall we? Shall we wish the mothers again one more time? Happy Mother's Day, Drew.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. If you're watching, I don't think you are, but I want to wish happy birthday. Happy birthday. I want to wish Happy Mother's Day to my mom and any moms out there who are listening, or you should go tell your mom Happy Mother's Day for anyone who is watching.
That's right. You're either a mother or you came from a mother. So figure out who's who, and happy Mother's Day. Drew, short episode today, but nice to talk to you.
It's always great to talk to you, man. Take care of yourself.
Have a good day. Now, speaking of having
Like
a
and
good day,
subscribe.
like and subscribe. I never remember how to do this, but here we go, and goodbye, everyone.